I'm Vanessa Casanueva, and this is my testimony. All right, so where do I start? We're processing. Okay. All right, so I think I can start. So I had two crazy encounters with God 6 months apart, and I'd never had an encounter up until this moment. So I think that was what was a defining moment for me in my faith journey. I had grew up Catholic, and really left the church during college, high school, and then came back midway through college when I got invited to go to church. I kept going just because I liked the message and I felt like it was helping me be a better person. But I didn't feel the Holy Spirit like people say that they feel the Holy Spirit when they talk about church. It just felt good to go. So I kept going. And so it wasn't until recently where I really felt what people were talking about, that unconditional love that God has for you. And so I think it started because I was diving in deeper into my faith and spending more time with Him, whatever that means to you, because it can be complicated. And I think taking it a little bit more seriously, or not even more seriously, because I always took it serious, but I think more intentional. So it was in September of 2023 when I was out on a walk, and this is kind of where it started. So I was out on a walk and I was listening to worship music on my headphones, and I had a really great weekend, and I was just coming off of that weekend and just so grateful for the experience that I had had for no reason at all. It was just a fun weekend out of town, and I started listening to praise music while I was walking the dog, and I was kind of like future casting and just kind of envisioning what my future would be like and trying to channel those feelings of gratefulness and the feel good that I felt on the weekend, but projecting that into my future. And it was all through worship music. And on my walk home, something told me, shut your eyes. And it was really weird. I had never gotten that feeling or that inkling to shut my eyes, but I was walking, so I obviously couldn't just shut my eyes in that moment, but I did want to listen to that little nudge. And so when I got to my apartment, I sat down and I closed my eyes, and I was like, okay, this feels wrong. No, I got to stand up. And I'm still listening to worship music the entire time in my headphones. And so I stand up and I'm in my living room and I'm swaying to the music and I'm future casting these feel good feelings, and I'm thinking about the weekend that I had and the future that I want to have and kind of envisioning what the future is for me. And I was just in this moment of gratitude, and I don't know what came over me, but I started getting really emotional. And then I started praying words over me that I didn't even know what I was saying either in that moment, and I never had done that before, but I was just praying to God, thank you for everything that He has given me. And then in that moment, I just felt I was washed with what we would call the Holy Spirit, and I truly felt this unconditional love, and I had never felt that before. I could feel what that unconditional love that people say about the Father that He has for you. And I just felt so worthy in that moment, that love that you want your parents to have, or a partner, a relationship. I had never felt that. It was literally, I was washed with so much love and worthiness, and I just felt really like so lifted, and it felt incredible. And I was crying. I was still swaying to the music in tears. And I wish I could better describe the feeling that I was feeling in that moment, because I had never felt so worthy and so loved and so accepted. And it's all the things that you hear at church that I maybe never felt before or necessarily believed up until that moment. And then I knew I was worthy for all the things that I wanted in life, and that I was searching for, and that I was so loved. So it was a really great, I think, first encounter to listen to the nudges that the Holy Spirit maybe kind of like poking and shoving you to listen to. And so I think listening to those nudges helped me to have my second oh my God encounter with Jesus. And that was a few months later, where this was February 2024. I was in a place where I'm usually typically a really positive person, and I was feeling really down, and I wouldn't say depressed, but just kind of sad about where I was in life, and where I was in dating. And I was a point in my life where I was dating intentionally, but I still felt as if every guy that was coming into my life was a little bit of a dud. And so being positive, I kind of just like, okay, it's fine. On to the next one. Everything's working out in my favor. It's for a reason. But every dating story or every guy that came into my life that maybe I didn't feel was a fit still chipped away. So it slowly chipped away at, am I ever going to find somebody? And it got the best of me. I would be lying if I said it didn't. But I was just kind of down. I was like, okay, like, when's it going to be my turn? And how many failed relationships or situationships am I going to have to go through before I find somebody? And so I don't think, as positive as I am, that, I'd be lying if that didn't impact me in some way. And so I was feeling all of this like pent up emotion, because I think in those situations I try to stay positive. And maybe I suppress how I'm truly feeling in those moments. And so I got to the point where I just needed to release. I needed to release all these emotion that I was feeling. And you can only be positive for so long before that has to come out. And so I felt like I needed to pray about it. Something in me in that moment was like, I need a release on all these emotions. And so a little voice in my head said, get on your knees and pray. And so again, I remembered that past interaction that I had to listen to that nudge. And so I wanted to make sure to listen to it again. And so in that moment, I fortunately was home and I didn't have to push that thought away. I was able to get on my knees. So I went into my bedroom, I got on my knees and I started praying. And it felt weird. I was like, okay, this isn't right. And so something said I had to get in my closet. So I got in my closet and something in me was like, you need to get in a dark place. And it's funny because everybody says in order to find God or have an encounter with Jesus, they say go to a quiet place. So something in me was saying, hey, go into your closet. So I got into my closet, I got on my knees, and I just broke down and I started crying and releasing all of that emotion that I was having, all this energy that was coming up. And it felt so good just to let it go and let it out. And then I started praying, and I didn't really know what I was saying or asking for. I didn't really have words. And it got to a point where I was like, okay, God, you know exactly what I'm feeling, what I'm saying, what I need. When is it going to be my turn? I feel like I've had enough and I'm empty, and I need you in this moment. I'm lost. And so I ran out of words and I didn't know what to say, and I felt like I was kind of done crying and getting it out of my system. And so I sat there in silence, because everybody says if you want to hear his voice, sit in silence. So that's exactly what I did. And in that moment, I kid you not, no thought came into my mind except he is coming. And I was like, did I hear that right? He is coming. And I was like, surely I made this thought up. This is in God himself. Did I hear that right? But I couldn't think of anything else in that moment. I couldn't think about the clothes behind me, that I was in the closet, the color red. I couldn't think about anything. Nothing came to mind. I literally was trying to think of another thought, because I was like, surely I made this up. Which says a lot, because I'm constantly an overthinker and I'm thinking all the time. So for no thought to come in my head was really incredible. But he is coming. And I felt this immediate peace that he's got me. And in that moment, I was like, I don't know if he meant my future husband's coming or Jesus himself is coming back. But either way, I win. Okay. But it was a great, I just, in that moment, I'm like, okay, he is coming. And I felt incredible. I felt like he had given me the strength that I needed to move forward in that moment. And it wasn't a matter of if I'm going to find a partner and a spouse. It was a matter of when. And so I could release that to him and let go of the pressure that I maybe was putting on myself for one reason or another, because he is coming. He was coming. He is coming. And so I just had the strength in that moment to keep moving forward. And fast forward a couple months later, I end up meeting someone in the most incredible way. And, in that moment, I didn't know if I was going to meet someone in 3 months, 3 years. I didn't have an expectation, and I was so okay with that because I just released it and I let it go. And I met someone incredible, and till this day, we're still dating. We are in a serious relationship. Whether or not that leads to marriage, God himself knows. And so, but it is beautiful to know that I could just release it and let it go, and that he was there for me and he's got me. And so after that was like, wow, I can't make that up. I've never had that happen to me before. And I was so committed to my faith after that moment moving forward. And I get it now. I get all the hype, why people go to church, these feelings that they have about Jesus. And I wish I could bottle that for people and give it away so that they can experience the same love and the same, not the same encounter, but an encounter, so that they could feel that unconditional love and that God's got them. So that's my testimony.